So in November of 2022, I went to the airport with 200 pounds of luggage in tow. It was mostly camera gear. It also contained a kind of embarrassing quantity of like peanut butter chocolate protein bars and mango slices and pistachios. And you learn a lot about yourself when you're packing for the kind of trip that I was going on. So at the airport, I picked up my daughter, who was 3 at the time. And I felt her little arms around me as I held her. And there was just no way to say goodbye. She cried, and she held on to me so tight. I told her that I loved her. I promised her that I was coming back. But there was nothing that I could say that was going to make it okay. And she wouldn't let go of me. So I had to disentangle myself from this little person that I love. And it almost broke my heart to walk through airport security. It was going to be 11 weeks before I would see her again. I was on my way to the collapsing ice shelf of Thwaites Glacier in West Antarctica. Thwaites is nicknamed the Doomsday Glacier because it contains 2 feet of sea level rise, and it holds back 10 feet of sea level rise from West Antarctica. And it's in such a remote area, even for Antarctica, that on-the-ground research is really not easy. So, 6 flights and several weeks later, I had just been dropped off at one of the most remote places on Earth, a lone filmmaker in a team of 7 scientists. We calculated that at that moment, people on the International Space Station were actually closer to other humans on Earth than we were there. And we will be the last witnesses of this strangely beautiful and isolating place. So, we have this satellite radar. It's a time lapse. It starts in 2015. Hopefully it'll come up here. It's much nicer to look at than my face. Maybe it won't come up. No? Well, I can tell you what it looks like, but it wouldn't be nearly as nice. Oh, no. Nuh-uh. You can't see this one yet. That's the sneak peek of the film which is coming. But you're not allowed to see that yet. The one I was hoping for is a satellite radar. It's a black and white image, and it's a time lapse. And in it, you can see the collapse of this ice shelf. So the western tongue of Thwaites Glacier is already gone. You can see it just flowing away. The eastern tongue, which is in the top of this image, has been pinned in place by an undersea feature, and it's kind of holding on. But when you see the image, it's incredibly dramatic. I swear to God, if you saw it, you'd be petrified. There's a little image of a tent, and there's all these crevasses pointing at our camp. And they're spreading towards our camp, and the whole thing is just slowly drifting out to sea. Because, in fact, while we were there, we were drifting 2 to 3 meters out to sea every day. And there were crevasses spreading towards our camp. So I felt incredibly fortunate to be this lone filmmaker with the opportunity to tell the story and make a film about these scientists and their very, very important work. Because just imagine a world in which, New York City, London, Amsterdam, Florida, Bangladesh, all these places are drowning under 10 feet of sea level rise. It's a catastrophe of unimaginable scale, right? It's a future we absolutely don't want for our planet. And so, this very, very small team, it was 6 scientists actually, 1 mountaineer and me, all but one of us, women, packed and repacked our gear, got on a tiny little airplane, got dropped off in the middle of nowhere, and got to work. We pitched our tents in a windstorm, and we built this little tiny community living there together for a month, I witnessed the care that the scientists take in gathering their data and the care that they take for each other. You know, we cooked each other meals. We celebrated holidays together. We celebrated birthdays together. We melted snow for water. We peed in Nalgene bottles. Everyone always wants to know that part, so there you go. We were this tiny community at the end of the earth, reliant on each other for absolutely everything. And during that time, that month that we spent on the ice together, we never forgot the unseen worlds around us, the crevasses that were hidden underground and spreading towards us, the icebergs that were tipped on the horizon, telling us that we're in fact afloat, and our GPS measurements that we took every day, telling us that yes, as we slept, we had drifted 9 more feet out into the sea. So now, I'd like to share a sneak peek from the film. The film is still in the process of the edit and financing. So this scene that I'm going to show begins with our main character, Naomi. She's a PhD student who is on her very, very first Antarctic expedition.
You want me to trade out?
I think we like to just make it flat
Do you think we need to make it wider?
a little bit.
Okay, here. I'm always gonna hold this so that the ends are never facing anybody until we are ready to put it in the hole.
Yeah.
I study what happens to the glaciers when they lose their ice shelves.
But the plate.
The ice that's currently melting at the bottom of the ice shelf is probably a few thousand years old, older than the volcanic eruption of Mount Vesuvius that destroyed Pompeii.
3,
It's like time
2,
disappearing.
1, and now.
That was so cool!
This place feels like home now. But there's something unsettling knowing the very ground we are walking on will simply not be. It's like a family breaking apart. One moment you have a mother, a father, a brother, and the next moment, the structure of the world you thought you had is gone. Then you turn around and look back and realize it had been collapsing all along.
So Planet A is about a doomsday glacier. But the point of the film is not, in the end, all doom and gloom. It's a film about a group of people who have a real sense of purpose and frequently also a real sense of humor. When I set out to make the film, I wanted to ask this question, in the face of disaster, how do you get up and do the work? We all have to confront our collective climate anxiety. We have to act, and we need stories that show us how to do this. When I look at the stories that dominate climate storytelling, particularly coming from the polar regions, I see a lot of men. I see a lot of adrenaline. I see a lot of thrill-seeking. I see a lot of stories that take pleasure in danger and raise up the image of the individual singular hero battling nature. But what I believe in my core is that to confront the crisis that we face, the model we need features collaboration, connection with our unique planet, connection with each other. We don't need stories about courting death, but ones that show us how to act from love. These women have that. They show us how to muster a sense of agency in the face of, frankly, the most frightening climate story on this planet. They're staring down disaster, and they do experience anxiety, but they get up and they do the work. They don't stop. They come from a place of love. And so the ground is literally shifting beneath their feet, and they don't lose their footing. So in the end, I made it home. I felt my daughter's arms around my neck again. And whenever I take her bicycling by the beach, I think about Thwaites and why I went on that crazy trip. She's the reason that I'm so passionate about us getting this right. She's the person that I love, the one whose future I really care about, the one that I would do absolutely anything for. So the question that I want to pose to everyone else with this film is, what would you do for love? Thank you.